Episode 360. Christmas Eve. Although Chen Guo had decked out the internet cafe with festive decorations, it was clearly just for business. He clearly didn't care about the holiday at all. There were no celebrations. His dinner was even simpler than usual, just a bowl of rice eaten at his computer. And he was still counting how many Christmas thieves Yeshu had gathered. The number kept climbing. Chen Guo was no longer surprised. At this point it felt like watching a suspense film. Just how many Christmas thieves would he end up gathering? That was the question he was eagerly waiting to see answered. Meanwhile, the elite players from the various guilds also grinding in Sin City on the 10th server could no longer sit still. 10, 20, 30. They thought he was just gathering mobs, but by the time the count hit 40, 50, they started to feel something was off. More and more people came to watch. It was easy to find them, a huge mob of Christmas thieves, parading through the streets of Sin City. Even with the city's low visibility, you could spot them from a mile away. The impossible was slowly but surely becoming reality.
What's he trying to do?
The leadership of every major guild was discussing this development. The most sensitive, of course, was the excellent Dynasty Guild. They could even see the impact of Lord Grimm's actions in the data. Their hunt in Sin City was slowing to a crawl. Christmas thieves were a fixed resource, and now a huge number of them were piling up under Lord Grimm's name. Naturally, Dynasty could find fewer and fewer for themselves. What's worse, the Christmas thieves Lord Grimm had lured away weren't dying, and if they didn't die, no new ones would spawn. This meant the pool of Christmas thieves available for hunting in Sin City was shrinking by the minute. The excellent Dynasty Guild's lead on the Christmas Hunter leaderboard relied on zones like Sin City as its foundation. But now, that foundation was being dismantled. Without a numerical advantage in Christmas thieves, their edge in having numerous elite players couldn't be leveraged. Chen Yahui had no intention of ruining his own winning streak. After dispatching the team led by Sword's Edge, he now handpicked a group of elite players for a new mission. This time, there were no restrictions. Their sole objective was to find and eliminate Lord Grimm. The thought of taking down Lord Grimm and claiming the massive cluster of Christmas thieves he'd gathered, just imagining it made Chen Yahui's blood race. Chen Yahui's guild wasn't the only one with that idea. When profit was on the line, these guild elites were all too familiar with the business of murder and plunder. Everyone knew Lord Grimm was a top-tier player. Even Chen Yahui knew he was Ye Chul. But in a situation like this, what could even a god-level player do? You're pulling a train of mobs, you can't step away for a second. How are you supposed to fight a player in that situation? There's no need for a direct confrontation at all. Just stall for a bit, and the swarming Christmas thieves will crush him to dust. The guild's schemes were all quite brilliant. Each had dispatched their agents, and they'd sent quite a few. Once Lord Grimm is down, we'll need to grab those Christmas thieves right away. The more people we have, the better. But reality was far from what they had imagined. Jianfeng Jisuo, who had been tracking Lord Grimm's position, had noticed this problem a long time ago. Lord Grimm's general whereabouts were easy for them to track. Pulling such a flashy train of monsters was after all a blatant display. But pinpointing Lord Grimm's exact location became incredibly difficult. Lord Grimm was the locomotive, but this train was a complete mess. The different Christmas thieves had varying stats, with some moving faster than others. In this single-minded chase, they had stretched out into a long, ragged line. If all the Christmas thieves could move in sync, then you could actually figure out Lord Grimm's location by tracking their direction. The problem was, the Christmas thieves weren't moving in sync at all. Some who had fallen too far behind had already lost sight of Lord Grimm. But with the game's mechanics backing them up, they were downright shameless. They still knew his exact location. Relying on their AI, they were busy recalculating the most convenient routes. They weren't necessarily following Lord Grimm's exact path. Some raced down East Street, others darted through West Street, and a few were scaling the walls. When players spotted Christmas thieves on East Street, they figured Lord Grimm was to the west. Spotting them on West Street, they assumed he was to the east. And when they saw thieves scaling walls, they were convinced Lord Grimm was just one street over. The direction his sword pointed, however, was based on the players he'd sent out, synthesizing all the incoming intel, and pinpointing Lord Grimm's location on his digital map. Time and again, he'd point the way with absolute confidence, and time and again the team's final, definitive reply would come back, "Hey, there's nothing there." This was the fourth time he'd pointed to a spot with nothing to show for it, His confidence as the guiding sword was taking another serious hit. He was too embarrassed to keep leading everyone on a wild goose chase.
Yi Chua's footwork is just too erratic.
Jianfeng Suaji reported to Chen Yahui.
He's not running aimlessly. He's calculating the Christmas thief's movement speed, using his own run to exploit the speed difference and create a highly deceptive situation. We can see the Christmas thieves chasing him easily enough, but we can't pin down which way he's moving.
What do you mean you can't find him?
Chen Yahui's mood instantly soured.
If you can't find it in skill, you'll have to rely on luck.
The moment his sword point's coiling silk spiral formation was broken, his confidence shattered. He was no rookie. A single exchange had made the gap between him and his opponent painfully clear. He kept fighting, but the truth was a bitter pill to swallow. Yi Chu was still a step ahead. He couldn't predict Yi Chu's movement path, and as for luck, well, that's something no one can truly control. Ye Shu had used speed calculations and terrain to juke his pursuers, throwing the Christmas thieves into chaos as a smokescreen, but if someone got lucky and just stumbled into him by pure chance, there was nothing he could do about that. And sure enough, a few players did just that. As they sprinted past an intersection, they swiveled their view.
Lord Grim.
Lord Grim.
To his surprise, he spotted Ye Shu. They couldn't even see the ID above the character running toward them yet, but with one person in the lead and a thief chasing behind, who else could it be but Lord Grim, pulling the train? Then they saw Lord Grim leap, a gunshot ringing out as he landed on the roof. 3 seconds later, the street before them was filled with nothing but Christmas thieves scaling the walls. They rushed to the next street over, only to find more Christmas thieves scaling the walls there, already on the rooftops. At level 34, scaling these rooftops was no easy feat. Those who could climbed. Those who couldn't ran along the streets below. Players streamed down both sides of the road, all the while frantically calling for backup. But Lord Grim just kept moving, from rooftop to street, then leaping to another rooftop. He vaulted over several blocks in a row, and the players who couldn't scale walls or jump between buildings were left completely in the dust. The gunners were keeping up, all of them experts here, their leaps and bounds just as fluid. They chased Lord Grim all the way back to the street, but when Lord Grim started using aerial fire to move, the gunners broke a sweat. They couldn't use aerial fire to chase him. That technique always sends you flying backward. That's why gunners almost never use aerial fire to chase each other. It means turning your back to the enemy's gun. While they're flying backwards, they can just shoot you. Even if they don't kill you, trying to catch up while you're that vulnerable is next to impossible. Even if they didn't know Lord Grim was Ye Chu, everyone at least recognized him as a top-tier expert. These gunners weren't about to try such a high-difficulty maneuver against a master, so they had no choice but to run on foot, drawing their guns to fire. Unfortunately, the distance was simply too great. Ye Chu had started moving the moment he saw them appear at the end of the street. The pursuing Christmas thieves were now showing themselves, dropping from the rooftops on the left, tumbling down from the rooftops on the right, and even charging in from the street behind him. These gunners got a first-hand look at the chaotic yet substantial train Ye Shu had just unleashed. Lord Grim charged to the intersection, took a sharp right, and vanished from the gunners' line of sight.